afternoon and welcome to another episode of Try Bonsai. It's your boy Banner, and today I'm going to do several things as quickly as I can. Well, I think that's one of my taglines, just trying to do things as quickly as possible. Anyways, what you're seeing in front of your face here without skipping a beat is a desert rose. What I did off camera probably last week was that I took this desert rose out of the soil and I left it outside there to dry. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to reduce the branches, reduce some of these roots, not necessarily shooting for the same kind of root system that we strive for with normal trees, right? Although we could attempt it on this particular species, it doesn't necessarily work as, at least in my dealings with desert roses, it hasn't worked like that. This particular species doesn't take well to wiring. It don't like wire. You could put wire on it, it will stay in the position of the wire. As soon as you remove the wire, it will go back, right? That is my experience. Anybody else has a different experience, no problem. Now, as with all other varying species of plants, it's not just you have ficus and it's one particular type of tree. There are many different types of ficus. And with desert roses, I firmly believe that there are different types of roses, because I've noticed it with the branching and the leaves, leaf shape, leaf size, branching, how it branches and so forth. Anyways, I've gone on long enough. So what I want to do some snipping to this very quickly, cut back these branches and put this one side to heal over for another couple days before I pot this up. Because I can cut the roots and pot it up now, but it is not recommended that I wet this immediately. And the reason behind that is that it would suffer from root rot. So you have to pick your poison, you know. So I'm going to cut back these roots and cut back the branches, leave it on the side to relax a 5 for a couple days. So I'll know how do you think let's go. Let me just go. So my friends, because of the container that this was planted in, it was small and the roots started to circle. So basically, what I want to do is to kind of cut away some of the circling bits in favor of something a little more streamlined. Yeah? So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to go through all the roots with you. We're going to come back and you're going to see what I did. Yeah? Good stuff. Okay. So I removed a lot of roots in favor of some more prominent roots in specific or more specific places to reduce some of the clutter. And let me just take this off, and to reduce some of the inward growth in favor of spreading more of a flare on the root spread. Yeah, so I took away quite a bit of roots. So as I said, I'm going to leave this. I'm going to take you see this that is curling underneath here? I'm going to remove this here, pushing for new roots to come from this point. And as you can see, I'm still removing stuff. Anyways, so this is it for this desert rose. I've left this here. As a matter of fact, I could take this off and avoid any unnecessary, any energy being spent by this unnecessarily. So this is what I have. So I'm going to put this aside, and we're going to put this up in a few days, and we will come back and see how this progresses. So my friends, it is Sunday and it's raining, but the work had to go on. So what we're doing today, we're continuing on from previous video where I made some cuts to a desert rose, and now I'm going to put it into some soil, pot it up, place it in a nice safe place, and let it catch itself and start to blossom. Well, let's see. Apart from that, what we're also going to do today, and I've been stalling on this, what we are also going to do today, I'm going to check the Ironwood air layer that I did to see if it was a success or if it was a failure. Other than that, based on how much time we have, because I don't want to make the video overly long, I have a Thuja to repot. It's in need of repotting so that we could reinvigorate the health and vitality of this tree. Yeah? So let me just go. So the rain is down and it is, well, I could say no and stop working, or I could continue and try to break from getting soaked. But I'm continuing. This is the desert rose, my friends. And as you would have seen in the footage from before, I would have made some cuts, opting for a little bit of directional pruning. Now, this is a root that is going under and across. The thing with this is that I am leaving it because it adds a lot of beauty. This is part of the beauty of a desert rose, with all of these plaiting roots. And what you do with desert roses is that every single time you repot, you raise it out of the soil half inch to an inch, and it continues to develop this cortex with this nice root system and the beauty of it. So it's not just the top, but a lot of the beauty is focused on the rooting system of a desert rose. So what happening is that it has been sitting there for about a week, healing over from the cut points that I would have made, and they are all nice and healed over. And I'm going to put it into this plastic training bonsai pot. I decided to take a chance and purchase this online, and as I did, this desert rose will not stay with me. A friend wants it, and I'm going to put it up into this nice little training pot that serves as a nice, good pot for it because it fits nicely. It's not too big, it's not too small. It fits very nicely, and it will go to its new owner. So, I tell you about the rain, so let me do stall. Let me get some soil into this pot, get this up, and then move on to the other projects. Yeah? Alright. I put down a little base layer of soil here. And what I'm going to do now, as you see me doing, I could mount the soil up just a tad. And then I'm going to place this into this pot. Making sure, and I need to check it, because I want it to be center from this angle. And I want it to be center from this angle as well. And that looks pretty good to me. So I'll continue putting soil into the pot. And there it is, my friends. It's potted. What I'm not going to do is wet it for a couple days, probably about 3 or 4 days, and then I will give it a light wetting. Now the soil has a little bit of dampness to it, so that should suffice. And what we want to avoid, which happens a lot with these particular species of plants, is root rot. So I'm going to leave this in a nice safe space and let this do what it does and take off and hope for great growth from it. Yeah, so the Adenium is done. Then we move on to the next project. So I have the tool in hand, and to be honest, my friends, I've been hemming and hoeing and stalling from checking that air layer, because as I mentioned when I was doing it, the cup, the air layer cup is nice. You cannot see, you cannot remove or interfere with it to see if there is any progress. And apart from that, it was a little bit tough to clip, and I estimate that it might be a little bit tough to undo without causing too much of a disruption. But it had to do so. Let me stop stalling. Let me go with it. All right, so here we go. Tool in hand, screwdriver in hand to do the unclipping. The camera / my phone has a little bit of distance between it and this, because in case rain decides to fall again, I don't want my thing to mash up, right? So let me see what's happening. Let's see what is happening. So the microphone is still working, and what I am seeing, which could possibly be a good sign, is new growth under here. So I'm going to take my time and try to undo this. I don't want to kill off the new little growth, you know. But I put this wire here to help hold it. Right, so the wire is off, and let me see what's happening here now. Now, there is no way for me to check to see if there are roots, if this was a success or not. So I will have to prize it, hoping that I don't break the thing. I wish it had a, right, that's one clip undone. Another clip undone. Nope. Failure with this air layer because it has calloused over. You can see the cut point there, not up here. Well, up here. No, not up here. Lower down. It has calloused over. And my finger is blocking and I really can't show it here. It's too good. But the long and the short of the thing is it has calloused over, and what could happen, I could rescar it and try again, which I will do, right? So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to rescar it and hope that it catches this time. Now, it has happened before where it calloused over and I did the whole rescarring and it took off, because what I understand listening to Peter Chang is that when it calluses over, within that callus are dormant roots waiting to come out. So that's what I'm going to do now quickly, and let's move on to the next project. and I put it back. It was easier to go back on this time, and let's check it again in some weeks and see if we had success. And if we did not have success, we're gonna do it again, because I want this as an A layer. I left all of these to basically A layer because ideally what I want to do with this is to reset the entire tree. I allowed it to go haywire. I mean, it could serve as a what you call a mother tree, where we could take from it. But what I have to do some root work on this, because the roots have gone through the pot and into the ground where it ain't even budging. So I have to cut that, because that could pose a problem. Anyways, let's get to the next project. Now, this next project, my friends, is something of a very big project for me, because I've never dealt with this particular species before. And please excuse the pump, because people are trying to do things. But what is happening is that, as I said, I got this from my good friend Andel. And just as he got it in this pot, he had this for a couple of years well, and it stayed here. So what I want to do is to repot it into this tile pot. I use in one of the tile pots. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to scrape the bottom of it, scrape the sides, and try to see if I could develop over time that flare to create that kind of nabari. So the first step is getting it out of this pot, scraping it, putting it into this tile pot, and hoping for the best. So let me just go. So I've put a couple pieces of drainage screen to cover the holes, and I'm reminding all you, these types of trees is my kryptonite and all, yeah. Hey. So it slipped out pretty easily, right? And this is the rooting system. So I'm going to scrape this, place it here, scrape down to find the top of the root ball and on top here, and get it into a fresh batch of soil, and let's see how it goes. Now, what I can do is possibly identify how tall I want this to grow, because it is kind of tall, right? This on estimate is about probably 2.5 feet tall, right? This is about, based on what I average to be the top of the root ball, this is about a foot here, right? And another foot. So what I can do is probably reduce the height, which in turn gives the roots a better fighting chance. So let me get to doing this bit, and you go see this in speed, and then let's get to possibly reducing the top, or let's reduce the top first and then get to this bit. Either which way. So I've opted to go after somewhat identifying what, or getting close to where the top of the root ball is. I'm moving as delicately as possible. Ooh, this is so very compact. This is so very tight and compact. I'm going to take a chance, my friends. I am going to take a chance. If I kill this tree, it's because I killed it with trying. And the chance that everything is falling from me. Oh, yeah, sorry about that. The chance that I'm going to take is I am thinking to cut across the base of this root ball to the bottom. I'm thinking about it. Now, I don't know if that will work out at all, or if that will be a fool's errand, you know. But I'm scraping out to try to loosen up the bottom of this thing, and it's working out pretty much okay. But where the roots were in the pot, it has become very root bound and very, very, very compacted. And I'm having a bit of a tough time getting to the top of where the potential root ball is. No, I operated totally contrary to what I initially said, and I interfered with the root, removing some of the circling bits and kind of opening out the root ball as best as I could, I guess, right? Which means I will have to reduce the height to reduce the strain on this root ball, if I may call it that. Yeah, I gotta reduce the I'll have to reduce the height to reduce the strain on the root ball. So I know some of you all probably saying, Bana, what madness you doing? And somebody or some buddies might be saying, go for it, bro. And some buddies might be saying, that is the correct thing to do. Differences of opinion, I welcome and accept them all. As I said before, it is not a species that I've worked with before. Now granted, junipers are my kryptonite, and junipers don't take kindly to interfering with their roots. I don't know if Thuja is the same thing. I'm going to know now. Andel, I do humbly apologize, my friend. If this unfortunately dies, I apologize. Only I'm publicly apologizing to Andel. Oh my. So I put down a base layer of soil, and I'm wondering to myself, is this the right pot for this? It is very shallow, and I think this might need a little more than this shallow tile pot. So I have another pot on the side there that I'm going to look at. So give me a sec. So my friends, I don't have anything deeper. I went and I got this, but this is not deeper at all. It's the same depth as this, probably a couple millimeters deeper. So what I did, and I saw this, I removed some dirt from the bottom of the pot, reducing the layer of soil to the bottom, right? And so that I could sink the tree deeper into the pot, as it were, you know. So now I am filling up with soil, and there was something that I wanted to do that I did not do. Paragovard, do it again. I wanted to put some slow release fertilizer to help this along. So I'm going again. Hi. Alright, so I took it out and I reduced the soil again. I put in some slow release fertilizer to help. I believe it will help after the work that I've just done. Now friends, let me know in the comments what you think. Have I done the right thing? Am I crazy? Let me know. I mean, I'm trying. Sorry to sound so using that word, but I am hoping that this was not an error in judgment, and everything that I am doing to this particular tree today will work out for the better. I am hoping above all hopes. So let me continue getting the soil into this pot and stabilizing this tree into the pot, and then let's look at the top of it. And I have to do this all over again, because the first time the microphone was off. The second time I didn't press record. So this is my third run at it. Record on, mic on. This is what I took off. This is the tree. It is still a little tall for my liking. I would much prefer to reduce it. But as time passes, once it takes off and thrives, we will work on reducing the height and taking advantage of the fact that it backbuds. You know, hopefully this soil with all of the components in it will allow for a lot of backbudding and allow for it to take off in vigor, you know. I am comfortable with what I did. Granted, I don't know the species. This is my first time working with the species. I don't know the species, so I don't know how it would react. If it's going to react like a juniper and kick the bucket, or if it's going to say, hey, thanks for that little refresher, let me go. Let me take off. I don't know. Right, I'm hoping for the best. Let me know, as I said, let me know in the comments what you think about this body of work, what you think about what I did. Am I mad or am I onto something? I don't know. Let me know what's the happenings. Yeah? Respectfully, of course. Oh God, a little waste me down. Please. Right? So I have another quick project that I want to repot very fast. I met Andel and Errol a couple hours ago, and Andel gave me a surprise. Woohoo! But what he did mention was that the pot was in a mess and it is in need of a repotting. So let me bring that out quick, fast. My friend Andel has given me a Serissa, or as we call it here, a snow rose. I think everybody calls it a snow rose as well. What is happening is that this pot that it is in is breaking apart very badly, and the tree has some dieback. Now, one of the reasons he gave this to me is because I attempted working with this particular species on a couple of occasions, and it was not successful. It was living and then it was not. So he said, go again. And I appreciate it that he, he gave me something to try again with. So, unlike the last tree, I don't think I'm going to interfere with the roots too much, if I interfere with the roots at all, because I just want to slip pot this into a bigger pot, right, with a little bit more depth to shoot a little bit more growth. And what you see me doing here is removing some dead bits from the tree. I just removed a live bit, but it was shooting in a bad direction anyway. So removing, because this is what happens with this particular species. It dies back a lot. At least that is what has been happening with me. This whole top piece is dead. So I'm going to remove this. And let's see. Now, the tree has a lot of inward growth, a lot of things to potentially take off or reduce. Right, but I'm not going to do too much work on it. What I'm going to do is slip it out of this and drop it into this much bigger pot. Well, not much bigger, but you know what I mean. Right, and give it a fresh batch of soil, and let's see how that goes. So let me get to taking this out. Oh, this is tied down. All right, so I have some cutting to do. So I went and I got the tool because this was tied down. Yeah. Let me see if it moves now. This pot is breaking apart. Wow, very badly. Alright, so I've repotted it into this one of these training pots. I purchased some of these training pots online to see how they would work out. This is the second one I used. First one was with the desert rose, 2 in 1 day, and it works out pretty decent. You know, let's see how well it takes with my weather in terms of the sun and that kind of thing. Yeah, but this is it. I've repotted it, and now we're going to put it aside, and hopefully this might be the stroke of luck with regards to this particular species. When, and I'm speaking it in a positive tone, when it takes off, we could start looking at reworking, not the entire thing, but bits of it, because it has to redevelop the canopy on top here, because it lost that bit here. So there's a long branch coming out here. We'll probably try to compact this to try and develop here. There's a pad in the back here. Andel did some pretty decent work, you know, over the time period that he had it. Because from what I understand, he bought this as a normal little twig in a nursery and developed it into this. So it's a funny species of plant. Nigel Saunders seems to have this down to a science. I am yet to get that science, but we're going with it. So that's it. And my friends, that is it for today. Thank you so very, very much for joining me here on Try Bonsai. Like if you haven't, subscribe if you haven't. You know, now is a good time. Comment. I would love to hear your comments on the body of work or the bodies of work that I do. Let's have a discussion, you know, and share. If you know anybody that would benefit from the things that I'm doing, good, bad, or indifferent, you know, share it. Share it. I would love to build this channel even more and do a lot more, you know. Thank you so very, very much for your support thus far. You know, I look forward to the continued support, and I'm going to do my best to keep putting out decent content. Yeah? So, as I usually say, be good to yourself, be good to others, treat people how you want to be treated, and always remember that our climate is our responsibility. Mike still on? Yes. We have an opportunity to change it for the better, if not for ourselves, because really and truly we want to play it forward. We want to play it forward. We want, if not for ourselves, for the future generation and the generations to come. Yeah? So I'll go see you all soon. Take care. Bye.